You're still watching In Search of the Self, and we are still talking about Siddhartha Buddha. We have Shakuntala Howaldar with us, the loving and beautiful Shakuntala Howaldar. Welcome again.
Thank you.
So we have to continue what we were talking on the last episode, where we reached to the point where there was a big change in Siddhartha's life when it comes to the suppression of Brahmins during that time, and also Siddhartha Buddha had a lady giving him some milk during his meditation. So that's quite contradicting and very important steps in his life. Please tell us more about it, Shakuntala.
Well, just to bring the picture back, this beautiful girl who was an untouchable, I think her name was Sujata, what a beautiful name. She goes to this river and she sees this person under the tree looking very, very, just fragile, just bones and little bit of flesh hanging. And she goes and gives this food to this person. And
the person who's of a higher caste.
Yes, but she, of course, knows he's of the higher caste simply because he's
the prince.
She doesn't know he's the prince. But she knows that he's been struggling to do the meditation in the forest. This much she knows. And she gives the food, realizing that he is been fasting and he probably needs food. To keep him alive, she gives this bowl of milk. However, after giving him the bowl of milk, Buddha realizes that this fasting and sacrificing yourself and beating yourself and hurting yourself is not the way towards bliss and peace,
which was
and
his
nirvana,
objective and goal of
yes.
what he wanted to reach
and the truth
towards through meditation.
That's right. But when he comes back to himself and he sits under the Bodhi tree and follows the path of meditation till he reaches Samadhi. Samadhi means entering into a very beautiful space of the self. And it is there in every human being. It calls you at certain moments in your life. And this is the truth that Siddhartha was looking for.
Because he was very confused compared to his earlier life where everything was perfect. And this reality which came right into his face.
It was amazing because once he was at Sarnath and once he experienced the light.
He started
experiencing the light, and then he called it nirvana. Because when you experience this enlightenment and you become silent, because the light silences you. You don't know what to say anymore. You as a simple, foolish human being, you stop. And you become actually the Buddha, the awakened one. The Buddha means the awakened one, having the bodhi, the buddhi to be a light,
The intelligence
to be a light. So here we come to a very beautiful point, Roshan, that human being has different levels of intelligence.
Of course.
And we take it for granted because we have in Shakespeare when he says, oh, now I'm going to speak to these people who don't understand much, and he makes them laugh. Then you see him talking to higher levels and higher levels. So you see many of our people like Kalidasa, Shakespeare, even Ibsen,
they have evolved mentally.
Molière, all these people spoke to different levels at the same time. So even when you look at the Buddha, in the beginning, he had to say, oh my God, how do I explain this wonderful experience of awakening, of the light to the ordinary man?
He wanted to share his experience.
Share his experience. But how do you share when 80-90% don't understand Sanskrit?
Of course.
So he started teaching in Pali, in the language of the simple man.
Okay.
He started speaking in Pali, but he had to translate difficult ideas. And not everybody could understand him. It took a long time for people to appreciate, understand what the Buddha was talking about.
But this is also very important because if you learn how to speak to everyone. It's also a self-education. You're teaching yourself how to connect to everyone also. It's part of his...
Yes, it's a psychological transformation. There is psychological growth. There is psychological awakening.
Which is part of his awakening.
Part of his awakening. So when Buddha goes through this transformative process and he wants to share, he starts talking to kings, princes. He opens the door to everybody, including prostitutes. Everybody was welcome to listen to him. And there is the story of a very beautiful prostitute who transforms herself listening to the Buddha. And she says, "Oh my God, Master, why don't you take my palaces? Take everything I have, but let me just be your follower." So there are people who have transformed completely when they see this beautiful aura of Buddha coming in the garden. And one day there's a very beautiful story of a king who says, "Hey, I want to see the Buddha too." Mikali Vini, when he comes to this forest, he does not hear a sound. Everybody is quiet. He says, "My God, I hope this fellow is not going to push me in a ditch."
Oh.
But what happened was, when Buddha was saying something, or when he was teaching people how to be silent and to go into samadhi, it was all silent. It was all so beautiful, because spiritual life means learning to be silent.
So how does this relate to us people living in 2014?
What a beautiful question again, Roshan. It is very important for us to stop and think. Why am I doing this? Is anything giving me joy?
Stop being mechanical about the things we do.
Automated, yes. See, I eat in the morning. I eat my egg without even realizing I've eaten an egg. I drink my tea, I'm on the phone, I'm doing SMS, I'm doing 50 things. So I don't even enjoy my cup of tea. I don't even enjoy talking to you. See how time has slowed down?
Yes.
Because we are in a different space. I want to hear you, you want to hear me. So you create the silence which allows for the sharing. How can you be sharing when you're very noisy up here?
It's also taking the time and appreciation of, for example, just the movement of eating and being aware of being alive.
100%. Breathing. Now you take breathing as if naturally, oh, I breathe. Wait, are you breathing? I'm not sure you're breathing, Roshan. Breathe. Oh my God. You realize, no, I was breathing unconsciously. Now breathe consciously.
So this is part of
the training.
Exactly. So
part of the training of coming to know who you are as a body,
and
as
being
a
conscious
mind.
of everything that we do, from waking up until we sleep, from driving to eating to sharing to talking.
And I tell you, you release a lot of happiness in you.
Because
that is the beauty.
True.
When we start sharing and when we become aware, there is a lot of beauty that is released in you. There's a lot of joy. There's a lot of happiness. And you say, why am I happy today? For nothing. Just because you are aware.
Because I'm happy. Thank you very much for sharing this beautiful thought with us. And I'll take you right back to the beginning of our show, where we spoke about the suppression that was around the time of Siddhartha Buddha, during the suppression of the Brahmins. So please tell us more about.
I like this question also because it takes you even to today's period, because suppression and repression takes you away from happiness. See, if you are fasting, you see beautiful food, your eyes want to eat the laddu.
Of course.
And you suppress the desire for the laddu. So repress, suppress makes you negative.
Yes.
And unhappy, and you push it. So what the Buddha says, be careful, don't repress, don't suppress, be aware. Watch this desire for the laddu. Watch this desire for the opposite sex. Watch for whatever. Be aware.
A conscious watch of how we manage it.
How our minds go.
Because if we suppress it, it's going to come out in very bad ways, and because we are holding in negativity inside ourselves, most probably. And it has to come out some way, and it comes back out in bad ways.
That's right. And
so there's a
yes.
difference between suppressing and doing a conscious watch of, okay, we know we don't have to do it. And also it levels better with the mind what we are doing.
It makes you more aware about what you're doing. It gives you time to reflect. Now, I asked my young 11-year-old, "Kyun pe fe? Yesterday was his birthday." She said, "Nothing." I said, "You had the most beautiful birthday," but she didn't record it.
Yes.
So what is happening is many times beautiful things are happening, but you don't record it because you're absent. Ici, on peut penser au maman, on peut penser au carré, on peut penser chemin là.
We're always thinking ahead
about the future.
And we are not living in the present.
We are not living in the present.
So probably this brings us back to the essence of what has awakened Siddhartha Buddha during he wanted to reach his goals.
The truth.
The truth. And this is where he discovered the duality, and he discovered all the truth around him that were confusing. And probably it came very clear in his mind.
It became clear that you have to be here and now. Stop moving to the past and the future. La, rest la, kote pe ale.
Become conscious of the present.
Become conscious of the present. Be here and now. And when you are here and now, you release a lot of happiness.
And this is I would say, c'est une prédisposition to be able to start meditating.
100%. If you start being here and now, it is a meditation.
And you accompany that with breathing techniques.
Well, you may, because when you are centered, when you're aware, the breathing becomes normal.
And you become more connected to everything around you.
100%. You become aware of the other. You stop being selfish. You think of the other.
And that also joins a bit what Rumi was telling us during the dervish dance. So it's very interesting to see the parallel world between
Rumi and Buddha.
Yes, yes.
Very much. And I am coming to a conclusion that all the religions of the world are saying the same thing. But we are poor listeners. We don't pas écouter du tout. This is the problem. Human beings don't listen. But the masters are all saying the same things.
And there are messages which come around us telling us things. Oh, that's a beautiful thought, Shakuntala.
I must thank you.
We thank you very much for being with us. We have now come to the end of this episode of In Search of the Self. Tune in next time for another episode.